LM Studio. Let's get under the hood.
LM Studio is the best-looking local AI application you can download. Built by Yagil Burowski, a former Apple software engineer and a 9-person team at Element Labs in New York. It launched in May 2023, free for home and work. A built-in model browser that connects to Hugging Face so you never need to touch a terminal. A chat interface, a local server, an enterprise product, and the most polished experience in local AI. In February 2025, a developer updated LM Studio by one version. Before the update, 30 tokens per second. After the update, 1.2. A 96% drop in performance from a single version bump. In March 2025, a graphics card with 16 gigabytes of dedicated memory was ignored entirely, while LM Studio ran models on shared system memory instead. And 44 days before this research, LM Studio crashed silently when graphics memory ran out during inference. No error message, just gone. Yagil Burowski worked at Apple before building LM Studio. That background shows in the product. The interface is cleaner than anything else in local AI. The Mac integration runs deeper. The attention to how things look and feel is obvious the moment you open the application. He launched LM Studio in May 2023, roughly 2 months after Meta released the model that triggered the entire local AI movement. The timing was nearly perfect. Developers had just discovered they could run capable language models on consumer hardware. Burowski gave them a way to do it without typing commands into a terminal. Element Labs is the company behind it. 9 people and 2 summer interns as of July 2025. That is a remarkably small team for one of the most downloaded local AI applications in the world. The comparison to Ollama is worth noting. Also a small team. Also venture-backed. The entire local AI tool ecosystem is being built by groups of fewer than a dozen people, which means every user is depending on a team that could be disrupted by a single departure. When LM Studio launched, commercial use was restricted. If you wanted to use it at work, the terms said no. In July 2025, Element Labs removed that restriction entirely. LM Studio became free for home and work. The revenue model shifted to enterprise. Single sign-on, model access controls. The ability for an organization to decide which models employees can run and which tools they can connect to. It is the same pattern as Ollama. Free tool, paid governance. But unlike Ollama, LM Studio actually has the enterprise product built and shipping. Open LM Studio and the first thing you see is Discover. A built-in model browser connected to Hugging Face. Search for any model family. Llama, DeepSeek, Mistral, Gemma, Qwen. Filter by size and quantization. Click Download. The model arrives. Click Chat. It loads. You type. It responds. Everything happens on your machine. No account required, and no data leaves the device. The privacy policy explicitly states no telemetry is collected. For someone whose entire reason for running local models is keeping their data private, that commitment matters. The local server runs at port 1234 and speaks the same language as the OpenAI interface. Change one address in your code and your application switches from cloud to local. Tool calling is supported. Vision models that process images are supported. The 0.4 release added headless mode so you can run LM Studio as a server without the graphical interface, continuous batching for handling multiple requests efficiently, and a stateful endpoint that maintains conversation history on the server side. That release moved LM Studio from a desktop chat application into something closer to production infrastructure. But there is a cost to all of that polish. Community benchmarks consistently show LM Studio producing around 20 to 25 tokens per second on the same hardware where the underlying engine produces over 50 directly. The graphical interface, the application framework, and the abstraction layers all consume resources. For someone chatting with a model on their laptop, that overhead is invisible. For someone running hundreds of requests through the local server, it is measurable. And LM Studio does not run on Intel Macs at all. Anyone with a Mac made before late 2020 cannot use it. Ollama runs on Intel Macs, so does GPT-4all. LM Studio made the decision to focus on Apple Silicon and accept the exclusion. The 30 times slowdown is the worst documented update regression in this entire series. A developer on Windows with an Intel Arc B5800 was running models at 30.1 tokens per second. They updated LM Studio from version 0.3.6 to 0.3.9. After the update, 1.2 tokens per second. Same hardware, same model, same settings. Rolling back was not simple. The user was told the process was not easy to reverse. A routine software update destroyed the performance of the application, and the path back was unclear. The graphics card detection failures follow a pattern. In March 2025, a user with an RX 9070, a card with 16 GB of dedicated graphics memory, found that LM Studio was running models on shared system memory instead. The dedicated memory was sitting there unused. Running the processor-only mode was actually faster than what LM Studio was doing with the graphics card present. In November 2024, a Mac Studio owner with 192 GB of unified memory discovered that large models ran with graphics usage near 0% unless they were loaded immediately after rebooting the machine. Then in February 2026, 44 days before this research, LM Studio crashed without any error message when graphics memory ran out during inference. No warning beforehand and no explanation afterwards. The application simply closed. Both LM Studio and Ollama share this specific gap. When the model is too large for available memory, neither tool tells you clearly what happened and why. In April 2025, a developer on Fedora Linux found that closing LM Studio did not release the memory it had been using. System memory and graphics memory stayed allocated after the application was supposed to have exited. The fix was killing all related processes manually or rebooting. For anyone running LM Studio alongside other applications on the same machine, an application that holds onto memory after closing is a problem that compounds every time you use it. The community verdict on LM Studio versus Ollama is simple and accurate. LM Studio wins the first impression. Ollama wins the stack builder's trust. They solve different problems. LM Studio is an application. Ollama is infrastructure. If you want to chat with a local model without opening a terminal, search for models without knowing where to look, and have everything presented in an interface that feels like a proper product rather than a developer tool, LM Studio is the best option available. The bugs are real and they follow a pattern. Check the version before updating. Read the changelog. Manually verify your graphics card is being used after loading a model. Do not expect clean shutdown behavior on Linux. And if you are on an Intel Mac, LM Studio will not run at all. 9 people are building and maintaining a complex multi-platform application with graphics card drivers, multiple inference backends, an enterprise product, and a growing user base. That is a remarkable achievement. It is also a risk. A 9-person team has no redundancy. Every departure matters. Every bug competes with every new feature for the same limited attention. The former Apple engineer who built the most polished local AI application did it with a team smaller than most restaurant kitchens. The product reflects his standards, the bug tracker reflects his constraints, a 30 times performance regression from a single update. A graphics card with 16 GB of memory sitting idle, an application that crashes without telling you why. All from the same team that built the cleanest interface in local AI. That is the trade-off. Every choice is a trade-off. At least now you know what you're trading.